What's your favorite thing that's libertarian?
The wonderful modern society we live in.
The society's libertarian?
Sure. It's not quite as libertarian as I would like, but the modern world, since the American Revolution and since Adam Smith sort of summed up the notion of spontaneous order and free markets, the modern world is built on the ideas of John Locke and Adam Smith. We do have a society in which people are largely free to make their own decisions, in which free markets have created tremendous prosperity. So I guess what I like best about libertarianism is the fact that I can live here at the end of the 20th century and have unprecedented access to ideas and music and goods and travel and all those things that make life really worth living.
With Doug Bandow of Washington's Cato Institute, who opposes national service. What's wrong with that idea, Doug? Sounds pretty good.
I think we're likely to find ourselves with an expensive bureaucratic nightmare. We'll find ourselves with a program that's going to siphon thousands of young people out of productive private work and put them into make-work jobs. And I think we're going to be reinforcing this whole entitlement mentality that somehow or another you are entitled to have public subsidies for your education, whether or not you're expected to give something ultimately in return.
Mr. Niskanen, is it protectionism of the rankest form?
Yes, it's the worst trade bill that I have seen in many years. It will harm American consumers, it will harm American exporters, it will hurt our foreign affairs with some very important allies, it will probably destroy the prospects for a new trade round, it will hurt American bankers who have foreign loans. There isn't a good thing to be said about it.
She joins us right now, and Sally, give us the main points of why you are so upset about this program.
Well, I'm really upset that it's been with us since the 1930s and it's so difficult to get reform. I mean, American families are struggling. We're barely out of a recession. We've got a fiscal problem that everybody knows is huge and growing. And yet here we have a program, again, been with us since the 1930s, right. And yet many congressmen have tried to get reform over the years, and it's just really, really difficult.
What does Cato stand for? What does it believe in?
Well, I'd like to think that Cato believes in the philosophy of the American Revolution. We think that public policy should be predicated on a respect for the dignity of individual human beings, and that involves giving people control over their own lives to the extent somebody else is deciding where your child goes to school, or somebody else is determined that you have to be involved in a coercive Social Security system. To that extent, your dignity is demeaned, it seems to me.
Too much power, too little freedom. It is time to restore constitutional government.
Budget watchdog Michael Tanner says all that debt is bad news for younger people paying into the system now.
And by 2040 or so, the so-called trust fund will be completely out of the assets. So at that point, Social Security will have to reduce the benefits that it's paying out.
The real risk is Social Security running out of money, necessitating massive tax increases and benefit cuts.
Well, do you think that the U.S. should help poorer countries or developing countries?
Yes, I think that the United States should help, but I don't think that foreign aid is the tool. I think the best that rich countries can do is to open up their markets to poor countries' goods. And right now, the United States and Europe, for example, retain high tariffs on goods and agriculture and subsidies that make it difficult for poor countries to compete. But we should recognize that there are real limits to what rich countries can do to help poor countries.
My name is Tom Palmer, also a D.C. resident and one of the original plaintiffs, and I'm pretty confident that the court is going to vindicate my right to self-defense under the American Constitution. The Bill of Rights applies in D.C. as well. I'm alive because I once had to use a handgun in self-defense. That's why I'm standing here in front of you. And I would like to have the right for a firearm in my home for self-defense purposes. We're very confident in our lawyers.